The main challenge for adult education in Russia, I would say, both and for the Pskov Association in particular, is just to make adult education acknowledged in Russia. Because when I participate in numerous international conferences and seminars where people speak about the development of adult education, promotion of adult education, lobbying adult education, in Russia we can't even start talking about that because the government, the ministries, they don't acknowledge the concept of adult education. Adult education is not acknowledged at all, is not institutionalized, and therefore in Pskov we try to do it at the regional level or even at the local level, at the level of one particular municipality, to even have the term adult education mentioned in one of the legislative documents at any level.
Is there adult education legislation on state level in Russia today? No.
None at all, none at all. Adult education as a term has never appeared in any document.
So there's no funding also for it at state level?
Of course. And when, for example, I hear discussions in Europe about what should be the level of public funding for adult education, should we increase or decrease, should we collect more from fees or from the government, these discussions sound like a foreign language to me, because in Russia there is no funding at all. There is some funding for employment programs, for retraining of the unemployed, but that's practically the only funding which can be called a funding for adult education in Russia.
And on regional level, are there some areas where are more developed than others?
In Pskov, if we speak about the Pskov region, since Pskov is on the border with Latvia and Estonia, of course there's a lot of inflow of information, experience from Latvia, Estonia, Nordic countries, Scandinavia, Europe. Therefore, in Pskov we can speak about a more or less favorable situation. We have at least a strategy, a draft strategy, regional strategy of adult education, which is prepared, developed and already promoted at the level of regional legislature and regional administration. And I hope that maybe this year or even maybe this summer, this strategy will be officially passed as a document. But of course we are not waiting for any document to start doing something. There are a lot of projects, of course there are singular projects supported by this or that fund for especially underprivileged groups of population like unemployed, rural population, women and so on. So,
would that be your main target groups?
Yes, of course, because so far we want the government, the administration of any level to support first of all the disadvantaged groups. Then we can start about the support of adult education in general as a universal value, so to say. But of course, first of all, the disadvantaged groups.
But you also have this strong connection to culture and to developing culture.
Yes, that's paradoxical, but you see, in Russia, everything is kind of divided into agencies. So, the Ministry of Education doesn't want to acknowledge adult education because that's about adults, and the Ministry of Education is concerned only about first education up to the university level. The Ministry of Culture doesn't want to acknowledge adult education because in the name of the ministry there's no word education. But paradoxically, the Ministry of Culture is the main, so to say, source of non-formal adult education, because culture clubs in villages, in small towns, they are the only source of those short-term courses for adults where they can get some access to education. If we, of course, drop the vocational education. Vocational education, that's Ministry of Education.
And what is the role of EAEA in this? What do they play?
A huge role, because EAEA is the only, so to say, official office that deals with adult education in Russia. They have an office in St. Petersburg, and this office tries to promote adult education throughout Russia, in many regions. They work in Siberia, in Karelia, in the south of Russia, in the Pskov region as well. And therefore they are the only center of adult education networks in Russia. They create these networks, they support these networks, and these networks at the grassroots level become a very strong lobby of adult education at the federal level. Because, for example, last year we organized a very big conference in Moscow, which had some echo in the authorities. So therefore we can say that EAEA is a very huge lobby of adult education in Russia.
Given this state of education or the challenges and the reality that you have, what would be the reasons for some European associations, European educators to come and work with you?
European Association, they have already come, they have already worked with us and keep working, especially associations neighboring Russia, like Finnish Association, Latvian, Estonian, Lithuanian, all of them, Nordic Council of Ministers and so on. But what I would like them to do, of course, I can't dictate anything to them, but I would like them to establish contacts at the federal level, at the level of the ministry, and start the discussion about adult education in Russia at the ministerial level. Much has already been done at the low level, at the grassroots level, but now I think even, that's of course a dream, but if at the G8 summit in Petersburg, one of the European leaders raises the issue of adult education, and this just mentions, then this could be already a huge promotion of the development of adult education in Russia.
So it's about visibility.
It's about visibility, about because some officials, they already start, they of course visit international conferences, they start talking, they start discussing, but you know, in Russia, none of the officials will do anything unless he or she is told this by a high authority. And if, for example, the president, or let's say the minister, just in one of the speeches mentions that adult education is an important issue, the process will start moving very smoothly all the way down.